Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first daybreak of the new year. I'm Juliana Brock.
And I'm Colin Winder. First off, we hope that everyone here at Point Park University enjoyed their time off for winter break. It can be hard adjusting back to classes, but we're definitely setting things into motion.
As it is a new semester, our topic for today is new beginnings. We're all happy to share all of the new places, events, and people who are making their mark here in the Berg.
So stick around for reports from Juliana and myself alongside our team of fantastic reporters.
We can't wait to get started, so wake up and smell the coffee, Pittsburgh. Daybreak starts right now. Welcome back. To kick off our first episode, it's time to hear about what's new at Point Park.
Every subject from theater to sports seems to have stolen the spotlight so far this semester.
Without further ado, here's your Point Park campus news.
The Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival, also known as KCACTF, was held earlier this week at Point Park University. The festival is a national organization that, quote, promotes the educational and creative process of university and college theater, end quote. Over half a decade old, the festival involves thousands of students each year. Point Park's Pittsburgh Playhouse was filled with students from 115 schools nationwide, along with many presentations made by students working on their craft, such as stage management, set, costume, and lighting designs. Point Park students also conducted another performance, specifically for this event, of the show Almost Equal To, which was performed recently this past December. Many students will be moving on to nationals in April, so be sure to congratulate them on their hard work and accomplishments.
Point Park students had a special opportunity to meet with Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin's older brother, Ed Tomlin. John Harris, the author of the biography Tomlin, The Soul of Football Coach, came to campus on January 18th alongside Ed Tomlin to talk more about the Steeler coach's life beyond the playing field. Ed was a key source for detail for Harris in the development and writing of this book. A book signing was held in the university bookstore before the event in the CMI. Harris began speaking about his time both as a columnist for the Tribune Review and a Steelers beat reporter. Following that was the Q&A session with Ed. Mike Tomlin serves as an inspiration and success story both on and off the field. According to the Globe, Harris said, quote, "It's a story of the rise of a coach who will go down as one of the best coaches in NFL history and how he got there, his start. I think it's motivation for people as far as hard work," end quote. This is a great opportunity for students to hear from people who inspire them about people who inspire them. I thought it was so awesome that Mike Tomlin's brother came.
Yes.
I mean, it would have been super cool if Mike Tomlin could have came, but that's a stretch, honestly.
Hey, they're both good. They're both good.
Yeah, and being able to hear all the details, because, I mean, you want to know more than just what you see from, him on the sidelines with, the paper in front of his face, taking the calls,
Exactly.
You want to know everything, so I think that's such an awesome opportunity. I wish I could have gone. Did you go?
I did not go, but I did hear about it.
Yeah.
I do think I'm so excited that Point Park University, they're really kicking it into overdrive with their events. Like the whole Mike Thompson thing, and even with the Playhouse. Like the Playhouse is really doing well with the amount of shows. Like, have you seen the upcoming lineup? Like Rome and Jules.
It's crazy.
Rent is in motion right now.
Yeah, and it's so awesome. And knowing people that are in the shows too is even cooler to hear about. And then I have friends in stage management. So being able to learn with people who are also putting on the shows, like behind the scenes, in front of the curtain, behind the curtain, all of that.
And the students really get something from it. From the communication students in the CMI learning from so many of these different events to COPA students generally going to the event and learning these things. I think it's really good for what Point Park University is about, which is developing our careers.
Right, and I think it's such an awesome, it's so cool, and just, you have all these big name people, big name in Pittsburgh at least, and it's so awesome, so.
We're getting up there.
Right, it's cool to see. And in case you haven't heard, South Hills Village is a mall located a short T ride away from Point Park's campus. It's known for being modern, but it seems that it has even more upgrades in store.
Here to discuss those new additions is reporter Anthony Durzo. Take it away.
Thanks, guys. Visitors of South Hills Village Mall can expect some new stores to open up this year. Last week, it was announced by Simon Properties that 4 stores have been added to the list of businesses occupying space within the mall throughout the entire plaza. 2 of those retailers include the popular eyeglass company Warby Parker, which will open on the lower level near the center court, and the Earthbound Trading Company. This retailer is a Humble Rock and Mineral Shop, and their location on the upper level near Macy's will be the first one in Pennsylvania. However, the next store on the list is no stranger to Pennsylvania. Five Below will open its 11th Pittsburgh location this summer on the lower level near Target. They will be joined by Ashley Home Furniture this fall in the annex building of the mall near DSW. The announcement of the retail addition comes as a new department store is currently under construction at South Hills Village. According to the Post-Gazette, the Iowa-based retailer Von Maur will occupy a two-story area with 118,000 square feet where Sears once occupied. This too will be the retailer's first location in Pennsylvania, which is scheduled for a grand opening in the fall of 2024. And these are just a list of stores that I cannot afford.
Yeah, there are a lot of, there's a lot of stores there, and honestly, I've always gone to that mall growing up, and so it was always just what I did, and it was my place, so.
Yeah, I can spring for Five Below.
Right.
But the other ones, I can walk in and be like, oh, hey, they got some cool stuff, and then just walk out.
Right,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm there to window shop.
Right.
Window shop, yeah.
I'll window shop,
Check to see what's on the mannequins.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
fantasize about wearing one of the items and then just
Pretend I'm
Right.
saving up.
just keep walking. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it on my future bucket list. Maybe one day,
Yeah.
maybe one day if I hit the lottery,
Yeah.
I'll
I
get
remember
this.
when I was younger, like my cousins and I would take the T all the way out to South Hills Village, and we would do it when we were young because we really didn't have to pay attention because it was the last stop on the T. So it was just like you'd hear South Hills Village and then you just get off because you knew you didn't have to pay attention
Right.
to the other stops. So
Right.
once you heard South Hills Village, you were off. You walked through the parking garage, through the lot, and then you were in the mall. And then you waited around until the next T came to take you back into town. But then we
Right.
also went to Ross Park Mall,
Yes.
walked around there.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what all develops, and it's always cool to see what new stores are coming because you're like, oh, I thought that store was popular, and then it closes, and
Yeah.
then something else will come, and you're
Or they
like, I never
move,
heard of this.
And then it's like you can't find them.
Right.
And I'm like constantly checking the directory every time I go there.
I know, but then it's trying to figure out how to read the directory. That's probably the longest part of this trip. So,
Yeah.
it'll be an adventure for everybody,
Yeah.
no matter what it is.
Yeah. And I know you didn't grow up around here. Like, did you have a mall that you went to back in Baltimore?
I did. So we have two malls. Well, I live closer to White Marsh, and it's almost like a little avenue thing where you can circle the block and they have the mall. And then my old high school, right down the street, well, not right down the street. We had this little trek, but it was Towson Mall and the Towson Circle. We used to run that street up the
Yeah.
way we would run that street. It was so fun. And Towson has like 3 floors and everything, like
Wow.
piercing shops, a bunch of food places.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
That
had a
sounds
mall
cool.
that had 3 stores. It was called Century 3. It's no longer in existence. I mean, the building is still there, but it's not open. But
Right.
that was like the biggest mall in this area. It was really cool.
Right. Yeah, it'll be something to see. So we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, sure.
And after the break, we'll shift away from Point Park and share some news involving the greater city of Pittsburgh.
Reporter Leslie Krebs has a story to share about a long-awaited Mon Valley development, and we have a very special interview put together by reporter Addison Deal.
You won't want to miss it. Daybreak will be right back. Welcome back to Daybreak. We're so happy you stuck around.
Now let's transition into your latest and greatest Pittsburgh news.
Pittsburgh is in a soggy situation as area rivers are continuing to rise, causing flooding. On Monday, the 10th Street bypass along the Allegheny River began flooding. The homeless population is taking an unfortunate hit with these circumstances, as both the encampments by the South Shore and the Mon Wharf have flooded. One person needed to be rescued from the Mon Wharf on Sunday night as water levels are creeping up at a steady rate. Pittsburgh public safety officials told KDKA that 2 people in the vicinity of Point State Park and the Allegheny River were directed to an area shelter. Point State Park is surrounded by water, and the bathtub section of the Parkway East is starting to take on water. According to KDKA, last week an announcement was made that Pittsburgh will be getting, quote, more than $142 million in federal infrastructure funding to help fix flooding problems with the bathtub section of the Parkway, end quote. This grant will be able to put up a wall to keep water out, and it will help implement safety measures along with repairs to bridges. In the meantime, hope remains that the water continues to go down and that the flooding ends. The Emergency Management Critical Infrastructure Manager, Adam Emil, put out a reminder stating, quote, do not drive around barriers, do not walk around barricades. They're there for a reason. It only takes about 6 inches of water to lift a vehicle off to start flooding it, and at about 2 feet is when it would float vehicles away, end quote.
Whether you're a die-hard fan or an occasional listener, rock music fans will be excited to hear that Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper will be performing in Pittsburgh's later this year, announcing the tour this Monday with 29 via social media. The Freaks on Parade tour is set to visit 21 different cities, including our very own Pittsburgh. The Legends will be performing at the Pavilion at Star Lake on September 3rd, 2024, and will also be joined by Ministry and Filter. This is the second time Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper are performing this tour, as it was brought back due to high demand and love for their horror-style rock. Tickets are expected to go on fast, which will go on sale this Groundhog's Day, February 2nd at 10 a.m.
Despite the fact the Pittsburgh Steelers did not make it to the big game, one stellar Steeler wanted to make that dream come true for someone else. TJ Watt, Steelers outside linebacker, made Adam Alexander's dream turn into a reality. Alexander is an Army veteran and a Purple Heart recipient. According to KDKA, Watt teamed up with USAA and Disabled American Veterans to grant Alexander this award. Besides loving football, something else Watt and Alexander have in common are their hometowns, located in Wisconsin. Alexander said, quote, I've been a huge fan my whole life, and it's just an unbelievable opportunity to go see the big game with one of the best in the game. It was shocking and humbling. I couldn't think of a better guy than TJ Watt, end quote. Alexander has an inspiring story, as he enlisted in the Army Reserves in 2008 and was deployed to Afghanistan in 2011. During the battle, Alexander was hit in the head by sniper fire and was given only a 5% survival rate. Alexander defied those odds and became staff sergeant. Despite his injuries causing his career to end short, his bravery and inspiration did not stop there. He now advocates for veterans in Wisconsin and promotes fundraisers. Joining Alexander at the game is his father-in-law, who was a Vietnam-era veteran. They both got to meet TJ Watt and enjoy a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Alexander told KDKA, quote, I hope it kind of inspires people to maybe getting involved. It doesn't seem like such a chore, and maybe you'll get to do cool stuff like go to the big game if you get involved, end quote. This will be an unforgettable night for everyone. I think it's such an amazing story that, you know, those veterans, they get to go see the big game and enjoy it. And it's just so awesome that TJ Watt, such a big name here in Pittsburgh, is doing that. And, you know, even for people in Wisconsin, because that's where his hometown and his roots are. And I love the idea that he just has those ties in his heart and he does it for people. It's precious.
It's very heartwarming.
Right.
And you know, you've seen like the mistreatment of veterans by
Yes.
it means a lot to I believe veterans or a lot of people that we get to see them enjoy themselves.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
especially after such a traumatizing experience.
Right. Yes.
And football makes anyone happy.
Right.
Or angry.
Who does not love football, honestly? And it is going to be so incredible that they get to go. And I think it's so great he's bringing his father-in-law too. Talk about a dynamic duo. That is so sweet. Like, they're going to have the best time ever. And I'm hoping to see them featured in the crowd. That would be so awesome.
They probably will.
I know. And I would love to see it.
Speaking of best times, oh my gosh, Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper.
That'll
Even
be
though
fun.
I am personally not someone who listens to this music,
Right.
the amount of alternative artists that are coming to Pittsburgh
Right.
is absolute. I can't even say that word. It's really good. I've been to a couple of concerts. I went to a couple local concerts.
Yes.
I went and saw, oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
You went to a lot of concerts.
Front Bottoms. I went to the Front Bottoms concert, which is alternative rock.
Right.
And guess what? I'm going to go see Fall Out Boy in March.
That's right. And we are all extremely envious of you. You're gonna have the best time ever. You gotta let Daybreak know how that goes, because we're all there with you in spirit.
Yeah.
That'll be really fun though, and I love to see all of the different artists coming here, and
especially Pittsburgh.
Right, it gives everybody a chance to enjoy their music live, their type of music.
Instead of going to Philadelphia.
Right, or like driving to a whole other state, which Philadelphia basically feels like another state if you're driving all the way over there.
Basically.
So yeah, so this will be a great opportunity for everybody. I'm excited for you and for everybody, and it'll be so great.
Yes. Now we'll be moving on to discussing an important development happening in Mon Valley. Here to discuss the reopening of their iconic incline is reporter Leslie Krebs.
Take it away, Leslie.
Since January, the Mon Incline has been closed to the residents and visitors of downtown Pittsburgh. The reasoning was that the electrical and mechanical systems responsible for slowing the cars between the upper and lower platforms were found to be failing, as well as other additional issues were found by the engineers. Now the station and cars have been renovated and updated several times since its first opening in 1870. It already had an $8 million renovation plan underway since 2022. These necessary additions will be added to the pre-existing contract. Finally, the renovations were finished on this past Monday, and final inspections and testing are currently underway. The Pittsburgh Regional Transit announced that the incline is expected to open in the next 2 weeks with a tentative date of Friday, February 9th. Until then, the shuttle buses between the upper and lower stations will continue providing transportation until the incline opens once more.
I mean, I love the incline. I mean, I don't use it for regular transportation, but every now and then I'll go on there, and I just love the view that it provides. So,
A little trip.
Yeah,
I was
it's
gonna
a fun
say,
little trip.
I have such a fond memory when I was a kid. I think I was like 4 or 5, went to see an iconic Pittsburgh Pirates game with my parents. And I don't really remember much about the Pittsburgh trip, but the one thing I do remember is going on the Mon Incline together. I was a little scared, didn't love the heights, but looking back, it's one of my fondest memories. And I think the last time I went on it was last year sometime, and even better. I mean, the views at night,
I know.
my favorite thing. So I'm so glad that it's reopening, and I'll be able to get on it once more.
Hopefully with
know.
less shaking this time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a little unnerving.
that can be a little scary.
It can be a little unnerving, but I just like to think it's a piece of history. It's gonna do that.
Since what, 1870? That's amazing that it's still open.
I know.
It's such a big part of Pittsburgh.
I know, and I can see it from my bedroom window. I look out and I can see the incline. And,
It's a big part of Point Park.
Right.
Almost every person's window opens up to the incline, and just seeing it, it's going to be great.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love it.
I love seeing it light up at night, and then just seeing
Yeah,
people
the
go
rails.
like up and down.
Yes, and sometimes the rails are like themed.
Yes,
like if
at
there was
Christmas
something.
time,
Yes.
it was like all. Now it looked like an Italian flag to me, but so
Right, but I
Christmas
mean, it works. Or they would do like black and yellow for whatever was going on.
yeah.
I love how festive it can get, so I'm definitely looking forward to it being back open.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you a talented lyricist? Do you love performing in front of a crowd? Well, you might just be able to become Point Park's next Pioneer Star.
Reporter Addison Deal sat down with Sondami Sinley, the Director of Operations at Point Park Pioneer Records. Let's find out what it takes for you to become a star.
I'm here with Sondamini Sinley today, Director of Operations at Pioneer Records, who is holding their annual Pioneer Star competition this year. How are you doing today, Sondamini?
I am doing good, Addie. Thank you for having me.
So let's start off with, what is the Pioneer Star competition?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Pioneer Star competition is an annual program that we have at Pioneer Records, where during the fall semester we open up applications for an audition and competition process for artists that are at Point Park University to apply. We end up whittling those down, and through a series of judges and evaluations we choose 3 for the year. These 3 Pioneer Star artists get one fully produced EP with Red Cayman Media over in North Hills. All of them get branding and marketing boosts and tips and help and so on and so forth. One of the artists gets chosen to have a music video produced by Point Park University. One of them wins a Gibson guitar, and then all of these artists get to perform at Stage AE in April the following semester.
Wow. So it's everything. You get it all.
Yeah, you get it all at a student level.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for students who work there and for
Yeah.
artists that are just trying to either get started or need a little boost in their music career.
Yeah. So Pioneer Records, you guys released a statement saying that you wanted to kind of narrow down your genre selection for the competition this year. Why did you guys decide to do that?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say necessarily narrow down, more like highlight, spotlight the genre, because over the years I've been part of Pioneer Records for like 2.5 years now. But all of our former rosters is that we have a good variety, but not a proper variety, as I would put it. We seem to be lacking in certain genres, and we specifically are looking for urban artistry, which is a very big term, but there's plenty of subgenres under it, such as hip-hop, R&B, blues, Bangladesh hip-hop, reggaeton, so many different. And we want artists, we've been looking for these kinds of artists because we want to be able to highlight them because they are part of our university. So we want to show that we are looking for you. We want you to be comfortable applying, because this reopening of our Pioneer Stars is a temporary thing. It's a little boost that the university gave us, a little extra budget that was like, hey, you're trying to make moves, here's a little extra money, show them what we're looking for. So, yeah.
Yeah, just a chance to, kind of dive into this, urban music in general.
Yeah, absolutely, because, I mean, I know it's here at the university, my peers know it's here at the university, and it's ironic that we get these questions after our applications have closed, and we're like, oh, you just missed it,
Yeah.
we want you,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So we are looking for either newer artists or experienced artists that are in the urban genre, again, very broad term. So then we can kind of like get them here. And of course, like, you have talent, you have skill,
Yeah.
all those lovely things.
Yeah. Why is it important for you guys to make sure you're showing all different kinds of music?
Well, because the music industry is so big. There are different locations that specialize in different styles. Right now we see pop most often because it's the popular genre in our immediate media that we as individuals and students see. So often that is a very popular genre that we select. We know people would like to listen to it. We know people would like to come to these concerts. But by bringing forward other genres that are popular but maybe not as prominent on campus, we are welcoming more students into our community, whether they're high school students looking to apply to Point Park University or current students here that don't really have much to do on campus, going to events and listening to music that you hear on a daily basis.
That's really great. Do you guys have any plans yet for the Pioneer Star Showcase this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in the start. We are working on our media and marketing. Our music video is in production. We're working on ideas. Leandro Bolello, one of our already Pioneer Stars, has been chosen for that music video. Right now we are looking at mid-early April. April 10th is right now the date that we are trying to clutch at Stage AE. But yeah, we're expecting this. We had the biggest turnout ever last year at Stage AE, and we plan on bumping that up again.
Yeah, only can go up from here.
Only up.
So who should students contact if they're interested in either applying or just coming to see the showcase?
Yeah, so if you're interested in applying, I would recommend going to Pioneer Records Instagram. It's Pioneer Records. You'll find it. It's a nice little neon colored headphone logo. And we have the link to the application in our link tree. It is only available up until February 8th, February 9th. We might give a little buffer date. But then if you're interested in seeing the showcase, look at our Instagram, reach out to me. I have a very public contact, I guess. I like to keep my contacts as open as possible. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing the showcase, stay updated on our feeds, stay updated on the news, and you'll see more about it. So apply. We start looking at applications now, and we're looking for more people. Because also, another side note, if you aren't chosen to be the Pioneer Star this year, we have a talent agency, and we still put these kids on stages. We still get them gigs. We get them on stage, we get them in front of a microphone. And then there's always next year to apply work on your art, and we love seeing growth
Yeah,
every year.
definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming here to talk to me and telling me about this amazing opportunity.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
I love the Pioneer Records, everything that they do.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I think that the opportunity to be able to showcase talent, I mean, a lot of people here have so much talent, and the idea that we can showcase it is such a wonderful idea.
It truly is, with Point Park being like the major school to go to for like acting,
Right.
singing,
Yes.
like it gives everyone an opportunity, even outside of Copa, which is really nice.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, it's not like it's just like a school talent show. It's more than that. It's like professional, and it's like real life experience, and everything about it is just so awesome. And I loved going to the show last year. I thought that was so awesome.
Oh yes, I
Yeah.
am a volunteer and like the assistant of graphic design for
Okay,
Pioneer Records.
yes.
And when I tell you, we really are working hard for these big events. I mean, the Stage A, if you didn't know, in April we're having a Stage AE show, which is the biggest event that Pioneer Records hosts
Yeah.
every year, which
it's
you guys
awesome.
should definitely come out to. It's going to feature all the Pioneer stars, and especially if we do get that fourth one, which people have been applying, which is really nice. All four of them are going to be performing for alumni. Like, it's a
Yes.
big event, and if you have time, please go. 'Cause
Yeah, and Stage AE is awesome. That's where we had my prom, and it was such a good time. And then we had that event, so a lot of good memories tied there. And who doesn't have a good time at Stage AE? It's just fun.
yeah, or Pioneer Records events. Karaoke, oh my goodness.
Yeah, who doesn't want
Oh my goodness.
Who doesn't want to try karaoke and eat it up?
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, with that, it's time for another Daybreak. Get it? Well, when we're back, we'll hear from reporters Samuel Parator and Jake Bell for this week's Sideline Slice.
And a fan favorite is making a comeback. Here to make his Daybreak debut and revive our classic segment, Politismack, is reporter Ethan Rowinski. Don't miss it. We'll be right back.
It's a tough crowd.
Hello everybody, my name is Samuel Parator and I am back with my good friend Jake Bell for another discussion version of the Sideline Slice. As you would expect, on the agenda for us today is the wild championship Sunday that just took place in the NFL, where we witnessed the Kansas City Chiefs prove to the world that they are still the team to beat, getting past a dominant Baltimore Ravens team 17-10 to advance to the big game yet again. Later on that day, we saw the San Francisco 49ers come back from 17 down to end the dream of the Detroit Lions and advance to Las Vegas to meet the Chiefs in what will be a rematch of 4 years ago, which saw the Chiefs raise the trophy. So Jake, I have two different questions for you on this little conversation. So first of all, I want to hear your thoughts. How are we feeling about Championship Sunday? Happy about the outcomes? Surprised about the outcomes? How are we feeling?
Well, to start, I really think that the four best teams in the NFL were in the conference championships. Just looking at them all season, I think they were really complete. Like, you see, like, teams like the Eagles and Cowboys, you could tell it was a little bit iffy, especially the Cowboys' track record in the playoffs recently.
For sure.
But overall, I think that the four best teams were in it, and the teams on the losing side, I really think they lost it themselves. You know, the Lions, it was just late game mistakes. It was too aggressive, or the late game drops, and that kind of all affected in how they were able to blow that huge lead. And for the Ravens' part, they really lost because I don't think they utilized the best weapons that they have. The best part of their game is the run game. And the Chiefs, while they had a great defense, their rush defense was probably their weakest part. I think we can all agree on that. I just don't think the Ravens did a good enough job going on the run. You know, I think they could have done a lot better with that. But overall, I think the two best teams are in the big game right now. I don't think that it's really close, in my opinion. I think those teams played really well, and with the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Yeah, I feel that same way. I'm very surprised by the way that Baltimore went and took that game and the game plan that they took to M&T Bank for that. It was very confusing to see that they wouldn't rely on the run because they've been run heavy for a very long time, and that's been what has gotten them to that point. They've been dominant all year, and undisciplined mistakes, not using the run, those kind of things just completely just destroyed them in that sense. And they played, I think, one of their worst games, if not their worst game of the year, when they needed it to be the biggest. And the same, and on the Detroit side, they had that really, really hot start. You have the huge lead going into half, and then mistakes and this, and it just keeps falling apart. And that, every Detroit was just, I just can only imagine the devastation with how far they came, almost playing with house money. You didn't expect to go that far, even though it was far from a mistake that they made it there. I really, really hope that, the majority of that team can come back together and they can make another run at it if that coaching staff stays intact, which I know at least 2/3 will. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we got to talk about it now. Going on to predictions for the big game on February 11th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, when we will see the Kansas City Chiefs take on the San Francisco 49ers for a chance to hoist the biggest prize in this game. How are we feeling about that?
I think it's going to be a very good game. You have Mahomes. He's going to put out a great showing no matter who he plays. And the 49ers have just been such a complete team with Kyle Shanahan for so many years. It's going to be a very good game. But if we look back at the 2019 season, Jared Goff and Tom Brady, we all thought that was going to be a high offensive game. We thought it was just going to be, and it was just the opposite, right?
One of the worst Super Bowls in memory.
Exactly, right. And I think it's going to not be an ugly Super Bowl. I think it'll be low scoring just because of how good the Chiefs' defense has been and how much the Chiefs lack at receiver, except Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. They've been very good. But overall, the receivers have been very disappointing. I see it as a 17-14 Chiefs win because I've been going against Mahomes throughout the playoffs, and he has yet to prove me right, and he's just been winning every single game. I think that it's just going to be a similar story. So I think it'll be 17-14 Chiefs.
Yeah, that's very close. I'm kind of right there with you on having the Chiefs win this one. They've had a lot to prove all year. It's been one of the more vulnerable years we've seen them in the regular season. They had a lot of doubters going into this postseason, really thought that they'd get knocked off in Buffalo. They didn't. Thought they'd get knocked off in Baltimore. They didn't. They've been proving everybody wrong every step of the way, and they've really played their best ball when they needed the most. And when the lights are the brightest, that team just never ceases to amaze us and continue that dominant run. I feel like they're gonna come out on top, but this 49ers team, this might be one of the best chances they've had, even though they've been very consistently up there. This team is just looked like an absolute world beater all year, and even though they've struggled the past couple of weeks, and like I said, when the lights are on the brightest, you got to put everything out there on the field. I feel like this is going to be very close, but I think that experience and just that dominant run and the way that this Chiefs team is built, I think they ultimately got to come out on top.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a cool story with Brock Purdy, too, being the last pick of the draft, making it all the way this far. No one expected it. I'm not going to compare him to Tom Brady, but it's a similar situation, right? A player picked that late having such great success, especially early on. You just don't see that, and I think it's just a really cool story. So it's going to be a good a good championship. So.
Yeah. The one funny part, both quarterbacks get compared to Tom Brady. One because they were drafted late, and one just because of how dominant he has been over the 6 seasons of this as a starter so far. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for another good discussion, my friend, and that will be all from us on this edition of the Sideline Slice. It's now time for the long-awaited revival of one of our favorite civil segments, PolitiSmack.
Ethan, let's hear what you have to say.
Welcome back to PolitiSmack. I'm Ethan Rowinski. Well, America, we are fully into election season. With only 2 Republican primaries completed, former President Donald Trump is strongly in the lead, winning by a record 30-point margin in the Iowa caucus. The results made it clear that the current Republican Party is the party of Donald J. Trump. He continued this momentum into New Hampshire, where he won with 54% of the vote. This time, though, with a much smaller margin. This is due in part to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race just 2 days prior to the primary, giving former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley some extra voters. She ended the night with 43% 0.2% of the voters, putting her 11 points behind Donald Trump. The next election both candidates are eyeing is the South Carolina primary on February 24th, the home state of Nikki Haley. Emerson College polling currently has Trump ahead at 54%, with Haley only at 25%. Her goals in the state seem to be much loftier, though, saying during an interview on Meet the Press, quote, "I need to show that I'm building momentum. I need to show that I'm stronger in South Carolina than New Hampshire. Does it have to be a win? I don't necessarily think it does, but it certainly has to be better than what I did in New Hampshire, and it certainly has to be close," end quote. The odds are certainly not in Haley's favor for it to be close, though. Trump is still far and away the leading candidate to be the Republican nominee, with the RNC going as far as to write a draft resolution to already name him the candidate after the results in Iowa and New Hampshire. This resolution was withdrawn after Trump himself said the RNC shouldn't move forward with the plan. He is facing multiple legal battles that may put a roadblock in his campaign, including a civil lawsuit valued at $370 million, in which New York Attorney General Letitia James is accusing him and his sons of, quote, "numerous acts of fraud and misrepresentation," end quote, in order to inflate Trump's net worth. It is unclear how far this lawsuit and his others will go, and as of right now, with Trump's strong lead and Joe Biden comfortably being the incumbent candidate, it's looking like we'll see a repeat Trump versus Biden election. And you know, guys, I mean, it's looking very strongly in Trump's favor as of right now. I mean, in most polls, he's at least, 10% ahead of Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing that's happening. And between the whole thing between Trump and Haley, I mean, I've been keeping up more so with people's public opinion online by different news sources and different accounts like Instagram, TikTok. People are genuinely showing their opinions, and it seems like on the outside, people are supporting Haley more, but based off the whole general and the percentages, Trump is in favor. So it genuinely is something that the Republicans have to decide on personally.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, the reason for that kind of divide is the people who are on TikTok, who are on all these social medias, are usually younger. They usually have a more educated background. And those are the voters that Nikki Haley is taking. I mean, a lot of her voters are people who previously were moderately Democrat, actually, and just don't want to vote for Joe Biden, so they support Haley. Trump, though, he has that support. He has for years. He has much more of that no high school diploma, no college degree background voting for him as well. And I mean, if he continues this momentum, Haley, she really needs to pull out a strong performance in South Carolina, in Arizona, and all the other primaries on Super Tuesday. I mean, in that same Meet the Press interview, she was also looking to, at this point, she plans to stay until Super Tuesday, which is when you have, I think, upwards of 10, 15 states doing their primaries on the same day. So, I mean, if she... Yeah. Up until then, she needs to keep putting up that momentum, like she says, if she wants any chance of being the Republican
Exactly.
primary.
I think she's putting on a face, again, for the camera saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to win, or it doesn't matter if I win. It definitely does matter, as you explained.
Does,
and
yes.
I think with the shift in how the Republican Party has decided, it's gotten more radical, especially with Trump's radical things. People are appealed to his businessman, gig, as one would want to run the country. Many people support. Well, even if it's not younger voters, I've seen that older white voters have leaned towards Haley because she's also a woman. And again, like you said, moderate Democrats or Republicans that don't align with the new Republican Party, they're choosing Haley.
Yes.
But do you know any information on the independent runner?
So yes, there is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he has, he very much has spouted a lot of what people may consider conspiratorial claims. I mean, he has talked about being anti-vax multiple times. But I mean, he does have, for an independent candidate, he has a very strong following. I mean, it's nowhere close to a Republican or a Democrat. But what the Joe Biden and other Democrats might be hoping for is that RFK Jr. would take some votes away from Trump enough so that Biden can come out on top in some of these key swing states like New Mexico, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania especially, Michigan as well. That's what the Democrats are hoping for. So
yeah, and it definitely could be a possibility based off, again, his ideology, and even so his father too, took the businessman approach in his presidential run.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
That definitely is, if people are looking towards Trump as a businessman, they may look to his son, especially with his ideas and his father, basically, being a businessman. So they might think that John F. Kennedy Jr. will, take up that mantle.
Yes.
And it just sucks towards, I guess the Democrat Party should be a little scared about that.
Oh, absolutely. They
Should be
absolutely
terrified.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not like a lot of people are huge Biden supporters, because in the previous election, it said that many people voted for Joe Biden due to him winning against Trump rather than for his ideals.
Absolutely. And even in the states that he did win, I mean, in places like Wisconsin, he only won by 3-4%. So even in the major victories that he needed to win to secure those elections, I mean, it was still small margins there. So it's just, we have to see if he'll be able to keep that, he'll be able to keep those margins coming into the 2024 election.
Exactly. And small little part about that, UVU is hosting their own election show next
Yes, we are.
semester. In the fall semester, so do keep a lookout for that. Me and Ethan are definitely going to be a power team in helping produce and getting this stuff ready for it. So keep on watching Daybreak, keep on watching Newsnight to get updates on what's going on.
Yeah, they've
basically.
been working their butts off to get this election show down pat, and it'll be definitely super interesting with both the political aspect of it and the production aspect on their part. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much,
Thank you.
Ethan. Yeah, and we're happy to see that PolitiSmack has made its return.
Speaking of well-loved segments, it's time to get a move on along to this week's Ray of Sunshine.
In case you've forgotten, Ray of Sunshine is our way of starting off your day with a smile in the spirit of new beginnings. This week's clip involves a family of ducklings who found themselves a brand new, unconventional father. Let's see it. That is so precious. Honestly, my favorite duo might have to be ducks and dogs.
I didn't know they got along.
Yeah, it's just the sweetest thing ever. And the fact that, you know, at first I was like, oh my gosh, his best friend flew away. That's
He needed
so
a little taste
sad.
of freedom, you know?
Right. He
needed
went
to
off,
live his
did his
own
thing,
life.
did his
Yeah.
thing. But now it's just the sweetest little, oh my gosh, I just love it. It's just the best thing ever. And, you know, the fact that he looks over them 24/7, that is just the most precious parental, even though, you know, I don't even know how to
He's going to be a great father. He really is
It's just
protecting
so
them.
sweet.
I love seeing how animals interact. You know, like we have
Right.
this assumption in our minds that they just don't get along.
Right, that it's all just like categorical. It's like the same
Nope.
thing as like cats and dogs fight, but
Yeah.
some of the cutest videos are cats and dogs cuddling.
Yeah.
So
And apparently a dog and ducklings cuddling.
yeah, it's just so sweet, and those are my favorite animals ever. So I love it.
Let's get ducks.
I'll get a duck with
I'll
you.
get a
We'll
duck.
get ducks together.
Yes.
We'll get ducks. We'll get ducks together. Well, that's all we have for this episode of Daybreak. I don't know about you all, but I am so glad to be back.
Thank you all for kicking things back into gear alongside us. As usual, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DaybreakPPU. Until next time, I'm Kalian Winder.
And I'm Juliana Brock, hoping your news is great news. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.